Morning, good evening, good afternoon. May Jesus Christ bless you. We need to have a bit of a conversation about life and where the world is at the moment. I have been under the worst warfare this past week, but because I pushed, I've got some answers that I've got to share. But beyond the answers I've got to share, I'm getting random hints at a much bigger issue, and it's not like it's not clearly self-evident, but when you've walked through it to see it for what it is, like, I think we're in bloody big trouble. And I want to also just let you know quickly, like with that, potential solutions for the trouble that we're in. It's like, if we're going forwards, there may be a dance happening where we go 4 steps backward in order to go forward. Anyway, I'd hate to say it, I think there's a can that's been kicked for years, and I don't know if it will get kicked much longer. And the pandemic, it's done more damage than we're even aware of, and it's just purely by the nature of what we do as humans, you know? So, I had a particular set of tools stolen the other day, and I really needed them to get a particular job done that's bloody important right now. And so because like I'm held to account if something goes beyond myself, I need to keep things alive, it forced me to go over and beyond to try and find an answer. So, it's just like you may as well burn the bridge, and you're on to war, and unless you find the answer, you're not going home. So I was up at 4 o'clock the other morning, and I drove all the way into Sydney because I found a website with a particular tool the particular tool that I was after, with a particular tool shop. So I thought, bugger it, I'll get to that tool shop at 6:30 in the morning. So I get there, and because the thing is, like, I made the decision that night, I was like, I'm going to go to Sydney, but beyond that, God wanted me up there for a particular reason, because when I got to this shop just around the corner of it, where I needed to get something in particular, the numbers was also it was God's way of saying you're exactly where you need to be. Anyway, so back to it. At this tool shop, I walked in, I was like, do you have this particular tool? And he looks in the system and says, we've got nothing. And then I was just like, do any of you guys? He's like, no, none of our shops are. I was like, why is it on your website? And he's just like, we're out of stock. And there was a bit vague. He goes, look, around the corner there's another place. They're not going to be open for about an hour. He's like, try there. Anyway, so the reason why I went to where I went to is because I had to collect some other gear at the same time. So I went and sat for that half an hour waiting for the other shop to open, and looked through every other tool shop in Sydney itself, all the different brands. And so what happened was, I went to a plumbing shop where they should have had this. I went in there and they're like, not in stock. I went to this industrial shop, nothing. I went and collected the gear that I needed to collect along with the tool shops that I went to, so that's 3 shops down. I then spoke to another 5 shops, nothing. And then I was caught with a decision because there was a shop that was near where I live, and, I was willing to spend a couple of grand on a tool by this point, because I was like, well, obviously they're hard to come by, so I've just got to get the tool to get the job done. So I went into this shop, and they had one of them on the shelf. It was like a cordless driven one, and we opened up the box and it was missing the pieces inside of it. So they've got this product worth a few grand, and it doesn't even have the pieces to fit it, right? So now all of a sudden we're there, and it's a top quality brand too. I was willing to buy it because I've got the batteries and everything for it. We look into it and we find all the different compatible, inserts to go with this particular product, and so we call up all the different shops in the city, and then we have to go back to the manufacturer. And then from the manufacturer gives a hint that there's potentially one within the whole country at a particular brand chain companies. So this company where this product was at was like, go to that company and see if they can find this insert for you, then you can get the gear and get on with it. So I went up to that company for them to go through their entire system, and there's 6 people behind the counter. They're all doing the same thing. It actually turns out that's what people are employed for at the moment at these businesses. I got him to contact the particular manufacturer, the distributor for this country, and they're like, no, there's nothing in. Where then the beans unfolded, it turns out that American manufacturing, and we're talking like, we've got a lot of industry that's built upon their products and you don't know it. There's nothing here, and everything's on backlog with the manufacturer itself, and they can't get anything made, right? So I was like, holy shit, like, we've got a situation, right? There's no tools in the country. So, you've seen that the building industry collapses because there was not just no tools, there's no supply. And then with no supply, all of a sudden, over the next coming days after I have this little revelation, like, I speak to someone else and they're like, I heard that this was happening over in Western Australia, and they're stripping out here. So all our cities are stripping out all the other cities. It's just a case of we're trying to get whatever little is left, and there's nothing left, right? So we've got no tools, we've got no gear. We're at the point right now, if you're going to build a house, you're going to need a hammer and nails, and that's about it. But look, we're just about run out of nails. But so the next part of it is I then, obviously, I walked into a shop and my ear pricked to the radio. I don't know if you listen to the radio, but my ear pricked to the radio, and like, so with housing, it's a landlord's dream, and the lineup that these houses have with the estate agents and the landlords, like, it's first in best dress of these houses, and like, it's just pay whatever you need to pay, and like, there's a lot of homelessness going on because there's no housing, so there's a housing crisis. But then to top that off, I then speak to another mate, and he's like, no, I was speaking to this person over in America the other week, and they were like, there's a major tractor brand that's been on strike for nearly 10 months now. And like, American again, so you know what I mean? So we've got our industry has just been smashed, right? So agriculture, there's going to be a concern that's going to pop up with this soon because it's one of the biggest brands in the world where this is happening. Housing and industry, we've got a concern there. The industrial industry, we've got a major concern there because we don't have manufacturing here. So I've recognised this, and so I'm just telling you like what the fix is really. You want to find the raw materials, and you want to get hold of the raw materials of what you know that it is that you're going to make, and you want to get good at making what the manufacturers make when it comes to fittings. So for me, like, you want to get good at cutting things up, you want to get good at bending things, threading things, welding things, etc. You want to be the one that makes it. Or if it's already made, you want to figure out how you're going to fix it with the stuff that you make. You've got to not be beholden to the manufacturer, because manufacturing is what has been hit. And so where we're at right now is there's a perfect storm brewing, and I was like trying to equate this to a bigger conundrum, like well, what is it? And I was like, it's not a crisis, it's more than that. And I was like, is it a collapse? I was like, no, it's a crash. I think we're about to hit a wall because the demand has outstripped the supply, and it's naturally was always going to happen because of the way the pandemic happened, because the ways of life as we know it changed when the pandemic hit, and so that stopped a lot of the ability to get, because it's all about goods and services, but the goods that you need to create the service. So we ended up with a shortage of goods. So now what we've got is when life went back to reasonable normality, then there's a catch-up from the backup of what was the original cause. So we're talking cause and effect stuff, and now what's happened is they can't catch up. And it's like burning the candle out at both ends. There's no candle left. There's no candle left. We're talking about also like the frog that got cooked in the pot. If the water was hot, would it have gone in there in the first place? No, probably not. But no. Humans are frogs in a pot, and they're just about to be cooked, and they don't even know it. And the reason why it's happening is because they're so busy squabbling at the moment over, who's right and what not, without recognise that there is a collision course that we're on, and there's no avoiding this. And I'd hate to say it, it may happen in the next few months. potentially weeks, but months, I would say. And the reason why it's going to happen is because there's no tools, there's no supply. Agriculture's been smashed, so food shortages, we've already seen that, but like, it's going to get worse to the point where there's nothing. So we're talking like, you get market corrections with the financial market. There's going to be a planetary correction, and it may actually just reduce the population purely through what the hell's going on. Look, if you've got the skills and you know how to adapt, say empires are built in tough times, and there will be empires to be made, to be honest with you, but there's going to be a lot of hardship, and there's going to be a lot of sad and sorry people that are coming, and, repentance was the answer, but it just wasn't there. I've never seen more arrogance in all of my life than right now. Just unapologetic, nose down looking, standover, narcissistic humans. They're everywhere. It's unbelievable. So I kind of don't feel sorry for what's going to happen, because my ark's set up. It's got to shut the gates and no one comes in. I'm right. But the suffering and hardship that's coming, it's just around the corner. Or how can I say, it's here. It's just a matter of time now. And when they say suddenly, we're on a crash course. It's a case of when is the candle. And I think all they're doing at the moment is sustaining the candle that they know is burnt. Anyway, how long does it take to create a new candle after it's gone? Well, I don't know. I think it may be a case of readjusting. As I was talking, there's a major correction coming. But that correction is going to come from a crash. And a crash, I think, is different than a collapse. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because we're fighting to keep it together, but, when you're keeping something together, but it's about to smash into a wall, there's going to be casualties. And that's when it's only the strong that will survive, and having the ability to adapt, and I'm trying to think what the other word here. A spontaneous ability to creativity. You've got to be able to make shit up as you go, and you want to learn to. It's adaptation. Just adapt or perish. That's kind of where we're at right now. But I think the bigger picture that I'm trying to get at, because of the arrogance that I've observed over the last couple of years, there are those of us. I'm not saying we're doomsday preppers. I ain't talking about that, but it's kind of doomsday we're prepping for, and what is doomsday? There's going to be no supply at some point for a period. What do you do in that period between the period when life must go on and you've got nothing for life to go on with? How are you going to eat? How are you going to support yourself? How are you going to look after those around you? How's that going to happen? These are common sense questions that we've got to answer, and we need to prepare for these things. Anyways, it's just around the corner. Any week now, any month now, it's here. That's the rude awakening that I kind of I've been preparing for ages, but I don't really have any issue when it comes. But just the other day, I finally seen how bad it is. There's no stock, and everything's gone back to the local country's manufacturers, where they've got a backlog because they can't even get stuff made in the first place. So industry's copped a hit, and it's hit us from the bottom all the way to the top. The entire supply chain, from raw material to manufacturer to distributor to shop to the end consumer, the whole lot has been smashed. And the worst thing about when we have the crash is there's nothing there to replenish it at the moment. So recycling is going to be something that we're going to have to look into. You know what I mean? And that's why I think used cars or used items is going to become an industry. So I think we may actually it'll be maybe more like artisan orientated and buy, swap and selling, and actually having to have skills and trading off, I need this steel work done for that woodwork done, the bartering system may actually come back in. Could there be an economic collapse? No, I'm not saying anything. Just we've got to be realistic about the position that we're at. This is about what is the position. I'm just, as a health professional, an allied health professional, we look at vital signs. The vital signs are telling me there is an illness here and it's about to take over. And until it, runs its course, it is what it is. Anyway, So it ain't doom and gloom. It's not trying to put fear into you. It's just you need to be pretty level-headed. If you've got skills, whilst the ability is still here, you want to get the tools that you know you can put your skills to, and have them as your backup. So if the time comes, but I'd hate to say it's beyond if now, you've at least got something to be able to support yourself and those around you when leadership is going to be needed most by those who have a level head and the skills and talents that God has bestowed us with. Anyway, Jesus loves you. Have a good day. Bye for now. I've got to go and cook some dinner. Bye.